Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our presentation of Burnside Unbound Children's Series. Today we have a lovely lady to speak to. Her name is Bernadette Cashel-Smith. Welcome, Bernadette.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here.
So before we chat with Bernadette this afternoon, I'd just like to acknowledge that the land we meet on today is the traditional land of the Kaurna people, and we recognise and respect their relationship with the land. And to our viewers, welcome and thank you so much for participating in our webinar today. It's the week after book week and we've been dressing up. So I'm going to put on my little bunny ears because today we're going to be speaking about some rabbits. And we also invite you to type in any questions that you might have for Bernadette in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. All you need to do is hover the mouse over the screen and a little row of instructions will pop up underneath. So again, thank you so much, Bernadette, and welcome to our Burnside Unbound webinar.
Thank you for having me.
Would you like to start by telling us a little bit about Bunny Hop and this beautiful book that you've just published?
Well, Bunny Hop is the magical town where Easter Bunny and his family live. It's in a very secretive place, and we need to, when we read the story, not let too many people know about this beautiful, beautiful town. And there's sometimes some other people or characters that cause a bit of mischief and make life in Bunny Hop a little bit troublesome. And it's mainly two other characters in particular who are the leaders that cause the Easter Bunny family some problems. And the Chocolate Calamity is a story telling us about the latest problem that these two hares have caused Bunny Hop.
Excellent, thank you. And like many authors in this time, Bernadette was due to launch this beautiful book to younger readers. How did you celebrate your book launch or your book birthday? And maybe any other future events that you might hold around the Chocolate Calamity?
Well, we didn't really, it was very quiet because of COVID. It was a very quiet launch. Not like my first book is A Secret Safe, which we had two beautiful launches. So we're waiting a little while so that we can gather more numbers, and maybe we can have not maybe a post-COVID, but a launch, a little bit of a later launch down the track. But what I have done is doing things like this, talking with you, Kate, with the webinar. And this is like a celebration of the book, and for me, spreading the word about Bunny Hop and all the Easter Bunny family. And later, like early next year, around Easter, we have booked at the Burnside Library with their Easter egg hunt, to have a day where we're going to hunt for Easter eggs. We're having a bit of an activity, and I think if we can squeeze it in, there might be a bit of a read of the book as well.
That sounds absolutely fantastic. So for those of you who are watching, keep an eye on our What's On website, and we will publish some details about that closer to Easter. So this is actually the second in a series. The first one, as Bernadette mentioned, is called The Secret Safe. Children don't need to read the book in order, do they?
No, they don't. No, they're separate stories that happen. The hares create lots of mischief, and it's really just an adventure on how Easter Bunny's son, Oscar, and to other human friends that he does come to meet in Is the Secret Safe. The books really are just separate situations on how they resolve the trouble that the hares have created in Bunny Hop and for all the bunnies.
And what inspired the writing of Is the Secret Safe?
Well, my two girls, they were quite younger at the time, and I was actually writing something completely different. And we were coming home one time from a friend's place over Easter, and they started asking me all these really tricky questions about Easter Bunny. They sort of were like, well, does Easter Bunny have a wife? Because Father Christmas has a wife. Does he have any children? Where does he live, Mum? You know, Father Christmas, we know he lives in the North Pole. There's all this information about Father Christmas, but there's nothing. There is nothing that tells us about Easter Bunny. And I just, at that moment, when they said that, it was like a flash literally came into my mind. And I said, you know, girls, you are right. You have given me an idea, because kids need to know. We know all about Father Christmas, but we don't know a thing about Easter Bunny and his world. So I said, I'm going to set about investigating it, and I'm going to set about writing it. And that's how it came about.
That's lovely. And I'm going to invite Bernadette now to read a little section of the Chocolate Calamity that sets the scene, or what Bunny Hop sort of looks like.
Okay, what is that stinky smell? Matilda and George rush down the stony pathway and stop in front of a small, humble bush with purple flowers. George looks eagerly around the bush, brushing his hands across its branches, and checks with Matilda. Is this the right bush? Where's the tunnel that takes us to the Bunny Hop door? Matilda carefully reveals a gap in the middle of the bush, where some branches appear to be missing. You see, George, it's right here in front of us. Matilda understands her brother isn't so keen about the tunnel travel, so she inquires, what would you like to do about the jump, George? George swiftly replies, I'm not going first, that's for sure. Being last will be much better. And he's quick to explain, I think it's something to do with how the air flows in the tunnel. Oh, whatever, George, Matilda shrugs her shoulders and shakes her head. Okay, stand back, she commands. She begins to bend her knees, but suddenly stops before the next step. What do I do again? It's been some months since we visited Bunny Hop. She closes her eyes and whispers to herself whilst tapping her fingertips, trying to remember what Oscar, their fluffy bunny friend, had taught them. Her eyes reopen large and wide, and she yells, that's it! I rise on the balls of my feet, bend the knees, and jump. As she's going down, she lets out a holler. This is so wah! George whispers to himself, I can do this, and repeats a little louder, I can do this. He fiddles with his skating pads, clears his throat, and declares once more with a stronger confidence in his voice, I can do this. He rises on the balls of his feet, he bends his knees and begins counting. 1, 2, and on 3, he bounds into the tunnel shouting, Yoo! Uh-oh. Did you hear that loud thud? Has George fallen over again? He was very speedy going down the tunnel. We must jump down too and find what's made that noise. I know you will keep the town of Bunny Hop a secret. Are you ready? jump after the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I hope everyone's up on their feet. Are you all up on your feet in the classrooms there? Because we're about to get to 3 and you need to jump down the tunnel. So you ready? We'll do it again. Everyone up? Okay. 1, 2, 3, and jump. Woo! Uh-oh. Matilda's legs have landed upright against the bunny hop door. It looks like she's the one that made the thud. George, stop the dancing and help me up, please, Matilda groans. I'm so excited. I did it, Matilda. I did it. George is bursting with happiness, but Matilda, still stuck against the door, mumbles, That's really great, George, but can you please help me to my feet? George taps a few more dance steps as he grooves closer to Matilda. He then glides on his side, stretches out his arm, and pulls her up off the dirt floor. Thanks, Twinkle Toes, Matilda grumbles, while rubbing her bottom. It's feeling slightly sore. You were right about wearing skating pads, George. She then insists, can you please stop with the dancing? Matilda stares at the rickety wooden door and shivers with the thrill of seeing the golden word bunny hop carved over the entrance. Once again, they will open this door to the magical world of the Easter Bunny. She firmly instructs George. Now, this time, I'll turn the egg handle first. You do the second, and we'll do the last one together. George reluctantly agrees. At the third turn of the brass egg handle, the chiming bells are heard, followed by the loud click as the door unlocks. It creaks open. The children freeze. They have no beaming smiles. Matilda's face is almost completely pale, and George is frowning. Their eyes wander over the rolling hills and glance at the cottage flowers, but the scene isn't the same as before. Bunny Hop must be in big trouble, Matilda worries. George, are you seeing the same thing that I'm seeing? I think so. George mutters. All the colour of the hills and flowers is faded. The hills and flowers are turning grey. Oh, the smell! Matilda cringes and crumples up her face. It's so much stronger here, it's horrible. I still can't smell it, George smirks. And he offers, would you like me to sneeze on you so you can catch my cold and then your nose can be blocked too? Oh, no thanks, George, that's gross. Matilda whines. She shudders at the thought of his sneeze and says, we should hurry up and find Oscar before Bunny Hop loses all its colour.
Thank you, Bernadette. That's really lovely reading. And this is the illustration that the illustrator, Annalise Forster, has put for that particular page. Now, there's a lot more colour there than probably I imagined in my head. But could you tell us a little bit about your partnership with Annalise and how you two met and how the illustrations came to come together?
Well, Annalise's mum is an old school friend of mine, and I was saying how I was needing an illustrator for the second book, and she said, oh, Annalise is an artist because she has studied art at the I'm not sure of the college, but it's on Light Square, Colonel Light Square, the college there of the School of Arts. And I said, oh, that would be wonderful. So Annalise and myself met up and I told her the run through of the story. And she has not done animation before. She has done sort of quite impressionistic art. And she thought, well, I'll give it a go. And the illustrations first were done with oil paints on canvas. And then Annalise had to work through to put them into a digital format. And I think it's transformed. I don't think too much colour has been lost in the transformation. I think they've carried over quite nicely and still give a beautiful brilliance and give the book a lot of life and fun.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It goes very well with the story. So thank you. I've got a question from Andrew, one of our Zoomers. And he's asking, what advice would you give to young writers who are wanting to become writers?
What I would do is say that don't think that it has to be perfect when you first put it on the page. Write what is in your mind, what you have thought of, the situation that you're all got in there. Put it down, maybe talk it out first. And as you're talking it out, put those words down on the paper because you'll find that you have your story. You haven't had to sit there and think you've got to get it word perfect, because none of my books were written first word perfect, especially the first chapter. The first chapter is so different to how I originally wrote it. There was a lot more involved, a lot more put in, and I've changed things around, I've taken things out, and that's what you have to do as a writer. You have to play with the words, you have to build with the words, you have to look at the words as if they're like Lego, and the words are your building blocks. And you can change, because if you just change them around, it's amazing how the whole sentence can have a different meaning. It can also paint a different picture, because words too are like your colours, and they do create the picture.
That's a really beautiful analogy about Lego blocks, because we're all familiar with them, and it's just the way that you arrange them is your creation, isn't it?
It is. And words, that's what you've got to use with words, because there's times that, especially, I don't know if everyone's still really big into the Minecraft. And I know that you will create a room and think, oh no, that's not right. That's not where I want to put it. I want to actually get rid of that and I'll put it somewhere else. Words are the same. That's what you do with words.
Excellent. And James has asked, is writing your full-time job?
I wish it was, James. I would love it to be my full-time job, but no, it's not. I have worked a few different jobs in my time, and that's what keeps the steady money coming in. One day, maybe, if you buy the book, I can have writing as my full-time job, because that's what you want to do, isn't it? You want to be able to have a job where it's your passion, it's what you really love. But who knows? Maybe one day it might be my full-time job.
Many of the children who are listening today are aware of the different elements of a picture book, like the spine, the cover, even the end pages. But what about the dedication? That's something that I've always been interested in. Can you tell us about this section of the book called the dedication?
That's the part of the book where you thank all the people that have helped you during your writing and also after your writing. So it's all the people that are there supporting you in all different kinds of ways. Like in this recent book, I've thanked someone because in my first manuscript, they were the first person that because they had an editing background. They gave a look of it and they helped me tidy it up a bit to put it forward to publishers. And that was a big support for me to get me started. And then also in this book, I've thanked someone close to me that helped with some of my publicity, because not all publishers will help you with the publicity. You've got to get out there. These days, writers have to get and authors have to get out there and do a lot of their own publicity. And so I had someone help me with putting together flyers and bookmarks and all those kind of things. So I took the advantage of thanking them. So it's what you do. It's just a way of dedicating this book to say this is my appreciation of all the assistance and support you've given me.
Thank you, Bernadette. Another question, or before I ask another question, just a reminder to our viewers, if you have any questions for Bernadette, just please type them into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. So Ainsley is wondering if you love chocolate.
Oh, I love chocolate, and especially at Easter time. That's the best. But the hardest thing I find at Easter, because you get so much of it, and the hardest thing is to make sure that you save it beyond Easter Sunday.
And have you been?
And that's the test, to try and save it so you've got it a couple of weeks later.
Are you very successful with that, or not so much?
Not so much, no. It's just it's there in front of you. It's just too difficult.
Well, there is a distraction. So at the back of your book, you've got some beautiful little a recipe for zucchini slice and a few little games. There's also a link or a information at a website called www.isthesecretsafe.com.au. Can you tell us a little bit about what the children might find at that website?
You'll find more information about the books. You'll also, there's a few activities that you can go in and do. You can also make your own bookmarks and print them off. And there's an email address where through my research, I actually discovered there was an email address to Easter Bunny. And there's an email address where you can email Easter Bunny.
Fantastic. I better go check that one out. Now, what's your next project, Bernadette?
My next one is that my daughter's always wanted this in a series of 3. Okay. So my next one is to finish off this series of the Tales of Bunny Hop. And through the stories, Oscar is actually Easter Bunny's son. He's the fluffy bunny friend that was made reference to in that little excerpt that I read. And he is the one that is going to be our future Easter Bunny. So just to give you a little bit of a clue, the third one is maybe him actually doing that and being Easter Bunny.
Fantastic. That sounds like a very exciting story.
It is, because of course the hares will cause a lot of trouble in trying to not make that happen.
Yeah. And so for those of us out there who have heard all about the Chocolate Calamity and we're dying to read it, where do we go?
Well, you can go into any bookstore here in Adelaide. If it's not on the shelf, don't worry. You can go up to the counter and ask one of the friendly assistants to order the book in. That's if you want to go directly into a bookstore and buy the book from them, like Dimmicks, because I know Dimmicks isn't too far away from people, and there's also Dillon's at Nord. The other option is you can go on to all major bookstore websites like Angus and Robinson, Dimmicks again, and Booktopia, Book Depository, all those avenues on the computer are selling the book. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And the public libraries will also have some copies available as well. So.
Yes, they will. Yes, of course. I know Burnside Library has one.
Thank you very much, Bernadette. And a signed copy, which we're a bit excited about.
Yes, yes.
So Bernadette, thank you so much for chatting with us today, and we anticipate the next instalment of Matilda and George's adventures in Bunny Hop.
Yes, and thank you very much for having me. I've really enjoyed speaking with you all and sharing the time with you.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Bernadette. And next Wednesday, we will be interviewing the creators of the delightful picture book, Bear in Space. The author is Deborah Abella and the illustrator Marjorie Crosby Farrell. So thank you all very much for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.